Howdy, howdy. Welcome back. It's another Workshop Wednesday. This time we're doing a Getting Started edition. So, for those of you who are maybe new to Google Analytics, we're going to talk about how to troubleshoot destination goals in Universal Analytics. Some people are calling that GA3. I'm not a huge fan of that, but Universal Analytics. We'll get there. All right, welcome. If this is your first Workshop Wednesday, welcome. My name is Chris Mercer. Everybody calls me Mercer. You should as well. I am the co-founder of a company called measurementmarketing.io. And whether you found us through some of the podcasts and talks that we countlessly give out there, we share a couple of our courses and content with other platforms like CXL Institute, Digital Marketer, Social Media Examiner, or Measure Summit. Maybe you're already a member of measurementmarketing.io, where we have all of our courses and content. However you found us, we are happy that you're here. It's our job to help people just like you learn how to use these tools, and Google Analytics Goals is one of those things that if you learn just a few quick tricks, it will dramatically improve your experience with Google Analytics. Of course, our flagship program is the Measurement Marketing Academy. More on that at the end of this workshop. For now, though, let's focus on one thing, one new idea. Remember, that's the one thing rule. So it's easy to get overwhelmed with this stuff. There's so much to the world of measurement. Specifically today, we're going to be talking about destination goals in Universal Analytics. And while Universal Analytics, we're recording this December 2021, Universal Analytics is eventually going away. It's going to be a good couple of years. So you're going to be using this platform. You're going to need to be able to set up destination goals. It will be necessary for you. And there's a couple of tricks here that you're going to learn and hopefully love. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Getting started, how to troubleshoot destination goals in Universal Analytics. Now, of course, when we dive right in, we start with the framework. Our job as marketers is to move from this area of where we're marketing in the blind, and it's our job to actually go through and get to the point where we can reliably build a system that's producing results. How do we do that? 3 steps: plan, build, and launch. So we think about the questions we're trying to answer. We collect the information for those answers. Part of the way we might do that is with goals, of course. Then we're going to think about the actions we're going to take based upon the answers we get. Then we do the build. Now, absolutely, goals come in to when you're trying to tell your platform, in this case, Google Analytics, what result you were trying to achieve. You will want to set goals, and destination goals are going to be a huge part of that. Of course, you got to use UTMs, and you want to identify the traffic. And then, of course, you learn how to use these platforms. So you have what we call a setup that basically tells your story, so that you can go into Google Analytics and you can see a story instead of just a bunch of data. Now, once you've got that set up, then you start listening to the conversation that's happening between the users and your website, and you can determine, is that the story we want? Is that the conversation we want to have? If so, awesome, scale, no big deal. But once you have your benchmarks, you can start to do the most important thing in measurement, which is to forecast what's going to happen next week and next month, next year, next quarter. And then you measure against your forecast. That's what will tell you what's working or what's not in your own marketing, so you can then optimize. That is the measurement marketing framework in a nutshell, and that is why we are here. Now, of course, today specifically, we're going to talk about goals and using destination goals, and we're bringing in, once again, a guest instructor, this time Julie Brade. She is our lead instructor over at measurementmarketing.io. She has been doing this for many, many years. Since 2017, she's been teaching our private guided training students. She manages all of our dedicated measurement management clients, which means she's worked with a incredibly wide, diverse set of business models and revenue amounts and tech. She gets it. She knows how this stuff goes, and she is our resident Data Studio rock star. She's creating all these reports all the time. And some of the things that she will use in Data Studio are goals, Google Analytics goals. So she might create a report for me to look at that's based on goals that she's set. So she's learned all sorts of cool tricks and techniques when it comes to debugging destination goals. And we thought, you know what? Julie and I were talking, and she's like, I could share some stuff. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and bring Julie on. So Julie, I'm going to go ahead and fade out, let you share screens, and take it away.
All right, let's go ahead and dive right in. We are going to go through a couple of different scenarios as to why our goal is not working and show you the best way to troubleshoot your goals so you make sure that your goal is going to work, especially as you level up your Google Analytics measurement. Things might change in the way that you need to measure your goals, so you might have to adjust your goals. And the logic, because it's a very black and white system, it's going to do exactly what you tell it to do. So let's say we want to have a goal for this particular page. We're grabbing the URL, and I've already have a little example here. It's a destination goal, because that's what you use for URLs. If you want to know how to set up your goals and the system that we use to create goals with our ACE goal method, there's a separate workshop for that. So this is only troubleshooting goals, like why are they not working? So by default, it's equals to, and then we just put our URL here. And then we chose the option to verify. And the thing we're seeing here, it says 0% conversion rate. And because this page has had traffic the past 7 days, I know that that's not right. Technically it is right, it's just that means my logic is off. So what you'll do, and we're going to open up a page into a new tab. I'm going to click on behavior, then site content, and then we're going to go to all pages. I want to right click and open a new tab so we can keep this one visible. So what is really important to see is if you go to the all pages report, you want to be able to see what it exactly is that that analytics in this view, which is really important to note, in this view, what is analytics seeing? So we're going to grab this URL and we're going to search for it here in this box and see what Google Analytics sees. Because if Google Analytics doesn't see it here in this list, it's not going to work for our goal. Because when we look at destination goals, what they're looking at is this dimension of page. So if it's not listed here, the goal is never going to work. So we're going to just copy and paste and push it in here. And knowing that we already have the 0% conversion rate, this is kind of what I'm expecting. But if I want to kind of work through my logic, we can go to this option of advanced. And this is the other thing that you want to do is because our logic here says equal to, we want to make sure that we choose that option as well. So exactly matching is a better option for equal to. So we can just so they are measuring the exact same thing, we're going to let it load and see what happens. So nothing happens. So perhaps if you're familiar with Google Analytics, you've already caught that the fact that we should not have anything that says HTTPS, only because, as you noticed, I want to back out of this. We're going to cancel. We're going to get rid of our filter. If you've noticed, there is no HTTPS anywhere over here at all. So if we want to measure our page and see what our page how many people have come to that page, we can't have HTTPS in it. So we're going to paste again, but get rid of this front part. And this also is true for the www. If your analytics has the www filtered out, you can't have goals with that particular part because it's not showing up here. So this is why going to behavior, site content, then all pages, and using this filter option and adjusting your logic again. So right now it's saying containing. We're going to paste this again and say home, get rid of this, and adjust our logic to match the goal. So we can say equals to, and in this case is exactly matching. We're going to say apply. And so now we have 15 users that have seen this page. That sounds a little bit low to me because I think we've had a little bit more traffic. So what I'm going to do is go into edit and I want to adjust it to say, well, let's happen if it's containing. Maybe we got something else going on. And I just want to see what happens for the page that's containing. And so we'll apply. And we see a whole lot more. So this line number 2 was the one that had 15, but we see a lot more with all these other lines. And what it's doing is it's pulling these parameters, the question mark and everything else behind it, because this particular view does not have that removed. If we were in a different view where they were removed, it would be just fine for our logic of exactly matches this, or equals this. Let's actually try that real quick. We'll see re-verify. Gonna give it a moment. And it's saying we have this kind of conversion rate for that. Coming back over here, since our logic is now containing, let's see what happens when we change this one to containing. we don't have an option for containing, but regular expression is a very close option for that one. So we have equal to, begins with, and regular expression. Most of the time you'll use regular expression unless the logic you need is equal to or begins with. So we're going to use regular expression, and then we're going to re-verify again, and our number is much higher, which makes sense because when we were looking at equals to, we only had 15, but then when we did contains, or in the goal aspect, regular expression, it was much higher. So it all depends on what the view is seeing. So right here, we don't have the parameters, or excuse me, we have the parameters, they're not removed. So that's the reason why we need to have that particular logic. Let's go to a different view. Actually, I want to show you real quick. The filters is what matters in this particular case. So, and this is what we're talking about. If you have parameters removed or other type of parameters that could interfere, as I mentioned, the www, having that removed or not. And this particular view does not have anything that says remove the parameters. That's the reason why we had to adjust our particular goal and our logic. So we're going to go to a view that does have the parameters removed. So I says no parameters. I want to show you that we can see it in the filter. It says remove all parameters. So if I go over to our site content, all pages, and then I look for the exact same thing, our logic will be a little bit different. So right here it's filtered by that still because I accidentally clicked on it. So I'm going to say all so I can see all the pages. And then we're going to paste it in, and I'm going to go back and make sure that I got rid of the HTTPS and the slashes. And actually, we're going to go to advanced first. We don't need to do, we're going to go to exactly matching and paste that and say apply. And so for this particular view, our total number in this particular date range, which is only a few days, is 63. And then I'm going to go and edit, and we're going to change it to containing, because in this view I don't expect there to be that much difference between the two, and it's not in this particular date range. So we can now change it to the last 7 days just to get a little bit wider date range. So the view that you're looking at your goal, that you're creating your goal in, is really important. That's a really important troubleshooting tip. So know how your data is coming through, what it looks like so you can adjust your logic to know if you need to do equals to or regular expression. Most of the time, choosing regular expression will be the better option. So here is another scenario for you. Let's say you have subdomains and you want to say only pages that begin with this. So it is important. You don't want to do members.measuremarking.io or shop. Or something like that. So you want to do the begins with. So let's go over to our admin and let's see if we can create a goal in this one. This is actually one of our production views. Here's one that I can use. This is how we designate, like, hey, you can start using this one on this particular date. But we're just using this for a demo, so we can do that. And I'm going to get rid of this stuff, and we're not going to do a funnel at all. And so it's already set to begins with, and we're going to go ahead and do this. And we choose begins with, we paste that, and we're going to verify the goal in this particular view. And it does take a moment for it to verify, and it's just kind of doing all this thinking, adjusting the logic, and it'll give us back a number. Exact same thing we had before, again, because we don't have anything different that in this particular scenario of this particular page and in this view, so we don't have any of those parameters, we're good to go. One thing that we see a lot of is if you have a view that doesn't have, coming back over, I'm going to go back over this way. If you have a view that doesn't have your filter set up and you set up your goals first, they might break. And so when we say filters, again, that's just a way to alter your data going forward from the moment you create them. And one of the very common filters is something called show domain, and that is putting this hostname part connected with this part over here that's called the request URI. So don't need to know those names, that's just the technical way of doing it. And I accidentally clicked on that, so we're going to get rid of this. And so what happens is when you're in a view without filters, and we'll show you that real quick. When we go to our backup view, this is the only view that does not have filters. When you're in a view without filters, your data looks really different. It's going to get rid of that filter there, and it didn't even work. So our logic didn't work on that one. This is the way it looks. It doesn't have the host name there. You see all the different parameters and everything like that. So you can still technically create a goal. So let's do that here. Here's the page that we want right here. How would we create the goal? So we can come over to our admin, and we would go to our goals, create a new one. I'm not actually going to save it because it's our backup view. We don't want any data in our backup view. I'm going to choose it to be a destination. And for a view without filters, you could say, to have this logic work with us, in this case, we could say begins with and has this. This is what we see a lot of. Equal to, as we know, won't work because, let me make sure that I'm back. I want to open up this in another tab so we can see it. So begins with will be a better option because equal to won't work because we have these different parameters right here. Remember, if we did equal to, it's only going to grab the one that has no parameters. So we're not going to worry about that. So, but begins with would work. And so let's just verify this goal here. And then we have this very, very close to what we saw before in the other views. And then we could also do regular expression. We're going to re-verify. It's probably going to should spit out the same number. And we'll give that a second to do that. And we can see that it's thinking, and it did spit out the same number. So again, going back to our logic, we're going to grab this URL. We're going to come over to advanced, and we could do containing or begins with to just confirm and just practice again that in this view with no filters whatsoever, this is what we get for this particular date range in this view. So what usually happens is you are going through one of our WIN courses and or just following any basic Google Analytics setup, and it's going to tell you that creating a filter that allows you to see the host name like you see here is going to be so much better for you. So that way you can see if they're coming from domain A or domain B or domain C, and it just makes measurement insanely better. And so once you add that filter and you have something that says begins with, it's no longer going to begin with. So let's use this exact same logic. So right now we're in our backup view. We're going to come back over here to this view that we have all of this here. And I'm going to go ahead and have another tab opened. And let's see what happens when we try to create a goal for in this view with that exact same logic. And we can even test it here while that page is loading. So we're going to say begins with and paste. And this is honestly, this is what we see all the time. They have a begins with and they have their old goal that they had, their old logic before they added filters, and it stopped working. They don't know why it's not working. And that's because of the logic of the view and what has changed with the filters. And so we're in the view. See, this is the view that has the host name. I'm going to get rid of that. And now we're in the same view, and we're going to test a goal. As you can see, this is definitely a view that we use for testing. We're going to go into the same process. Quickly testing all this, and again, we're going to choose begins with, and we have this. Verify the goal. It should give us a 0. We can see that it's thinking, gave us 0, exactly what we were expecting. So what do you do in this situation? Do you have to change your view, get rid of your filters or anything like that? No, not at all. You just switch it to regular expression, because remember, that's the way of saying containing. And how do we make sure? How do we troubleshoot? Again, we go to a behavior, site content, all pages, and use this to test our logic. Technically, we can just re-verify again, but if you don't want to sit there and troubleshoot, you can come over here to your page and say containing and paste it in and apply, and we should get the result we want to see. This is also really, really helpful in this particular way to see, are you accidentally including pages you don't want to include? And if that's the case, you can come back here and edit and choose the regular expression option here. And if you are familiar with regular expressions, you can use the or bars or some any of these other options perhaps that might be more helpful for you. There's things where if I wanted only the home page, so for example, if I looked for page containing measurement marketing.io, this right here. So clearly, most of our pages, with the exception of some webinar jam things that we use in the past or Infusionsoft forums, most of our pages are going to have that. But if I wanted to do just the home page for whatever reason, because it was going to answer a very specific question for us, I could change it to regular expression and then use a $sign that basically is saying stop here, don't look for anything else after this. And I apply that, and I can then test my logic, like, yes, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Obviously, again, there's no parameters or anything after here, so I would have to be very careful and see if that's the logic that I would want. And I could edit and then remove that and possibly try something else. I could say $sign. Let's actually see if this works. I honestly have no idea, but with my regex knowledge, and I could say, let's see here, did I put that? So I'm saying, yeah, this is where you would have to get really, really creative with your regex. We're not going to jump into that because that's going to be a little bit too much for today. But if I had parameters coming through, like this is what I was trying to say in the beginning, is you come through here and you would, just search for exactly the home page again, but it's going to pull up everything, and this is where you can search for the home page plus a parameter. Just put a question mark, and you should see everything that does have the parameter. And in this case, if I saw that, I would probably go to a view that had the parameters removed to create my goal, because that's going to give me a more useful truth. I don't have to worry about botching the regular expression for a parameter that I wasn't thinking about. And that way I can get a more useful truth with the goal. So in this case, I would go to a view that has the parameters removed and do the exact same thing before, where I can go to our goals and go to our test goal real quick and do all the things we did before because we didn't save it. I could just turn that off. And so instead of begins with, because that's not what we're looking for, we want regular expression, and we're going to do the $sign. So here it says only people that see the home page, and because I don't have any parameters on this view, I know that it's going to all of those, it's going to grab everything that I'm looking for, and we'll test that here in just a moment. We see that it's loading, and we have this is our number. So we're going to grab our same logic, do the exact same thing we did before, and we have this filter we're going to get rid of, and we're going to advanced, and we're going to do regular expression like we have with our goal and apply it. And this is exactly what we would be looking for, as opposed from the other view where it wasn't giving us the answer that we were looking for because of all of the question marks and all the words after it, which are the parameters. So to sum it up, going to behavior, site content, all pages, and using this as a way to help you test your logic for your goal, and then also being very aware of your views and as you change your views. If you have the option, create your views and get your filters all set up so that you are able to create your goals and not have to adjust them. However, if you already have your goals set up, one of the easiest ways to do this is just change them to regular expression instead of begins with. And so as you start adding those filters in and stuff like that, you don't have to worry about your goals breaking because it's already a regular expression and it'll work just fine. If you have the parameters, or if you don't have the parameters, it'll work just fine. So pro tip, just always use regular expression, and most of the time you won't have the wonky logic. Now, if you try to look for just the home page, you will have to do something with regular expression like the $ we showed. So if you have any questions like that, you guys know where to find us and Ask Our Instructor support. And I'll hand it off to Mercer.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Julie. Again, Julie Brade is an absolute rock star. So those of you in the Measurement Marketing Academy, you can find her in Ask an Instructor support. She's back there helping the other instructors answer questions, as well as answering on her own as well. And remember, strategy and implementation questions. So it could be something simple like your view. It could be something simple like, the goal itself was set up incorrectly. She'll be able to help you with that. Maybe it's just, should this be a destination goal or should it be a different type of goal? Anything back there, the instructors can help you out with. So absolutely be sure to utilize Ask an Instructor support. All right. So what was your one thing with this whole thing? I know for me personally, things like views, you got to check the view, especially if you change the view. That makes goals break sometimes, depending upon what you changed. I love the idea of pre-testing your goals and doing the way that Julie showed you so that you can see, hey, if this goal was a goal, it would have triggered with all of these different parameters. Is that what I want? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But that's how you check, and that's how you can be proactive, and you can, practically guarantee that your goals are going to work the way that you expect them to. So hopefully you got at least one new thing from that. Remember the framework. That is what this whole thing is for. And the framework is really in the results section. So in the build, you have story, you got traffic, but results. And you've got to set up goals. That's how you measure results. And that's why this is so important. All right, coming up next week, we've got Adjusting Your Eyes on the Journey report in Google Data Studio. That is a very specific report that most Academy members are very familiar with. It's kind of something that we're becoming quickly famous for because it is incredibly powerful. So when you have it set up, you may need to customize and adjust it. And Julie is actually going to show you how to do that next week as well. If you want to be part of that, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, as well as, of course, notify. Hit the bell. It'll notify you. By the way, we love the comments that we get. I cannot promise we'll be able to get back to everybody's comments, but we read every single one of them. They are absolutely awesome. The ones that are for support, we really do take care of our members in the Academy, so we don't have as many resources to help with support. We try where we can, but we definitely appreciate the comments, the suggestions, the topic ideas, all of that stuff. And again, thank you for all of you who have subscribed already and for sharing the channel. Because I think now we are very quickly coming across the 3,000 mark. So thank you for that. Now, the other way that you can get these workshops is in the Measurement Marketing Toolbox. It is completely free. I'll actually show you the toolbox in just a minute here so you can see everything. But it's not just the most current workshop that you get access to. You also get access to all of the tools. So if you hear if Julie's talking about, the ACE Goals ebook, that's back there in the toolbox for our Toolbox members, which is, again, completely free. Whenever she's training on traffic and trying to go over the UTM strategies or talking about things like that, it's back there. We have a Fun with Filters toolbox tool that's back there, so you can set up your filters to improve your views. So all of that stuff is completely free. It's our way of helping to build the community. It is yours. You just need to go to measure.tips/ww, become a Toolbox member. Just a name and email, completely free. It'll set up the account and then send you a password so you can log in and get access to all the fun stuff. The only thing we ask is that you use it. Log in and use it, because otherwise we will just ask you to free up a space for somebody else. So measure.tip/WW to create your free Toolbox membership. Now, I did mention the Academy earlier at the beginning of this workshop. And of course, the Academy is our flagship paid training program. It is not just a program, though. It is just-in-time learning. It's an entire platform dedicated to helping you understand measurement, not just how to set up Google Analytics. I think a lot of people think that's all it is. It's way beyond that. Measurement is so much bigger than that. There's a lot of strategy involved. It's how you think about stuff. It will change how you think about this. And that's what makes you more successful, because it changes how you think about it. That's kind of the beauty of this entire thing. So the Measurement Marketing Academy is definitely something to consider. I figured, the reason we built it was really just to go through this framework over and over again, because we do it ourselves. Remember, we definitely, what they call in the tech world, eating your own dog food. We do this. We use this framework constantly. We've gone through it hundreds, probably thousands of times at this point, and we'll continue to, tens of thousands of times, because it makes us stronger. We have incredibly well-developed measurement muscles because of this framework. We're doing the exact same framework we teach students to use, and that's why the Academy is back there. So I figure I'll give you a quick tour for those that have not seen it. So it looks like this. When you come in, you have sort of these main 6 blocks that you got access to. The content is, we've got structured WIN courses. WIN stands for what I need, because our courses are very focused, because I'm not a big believer in overwhelming you with 4 million videos about how to use Google Analytics and all the different bells and whistles that are back there, because let's face it, you probably don't need to know about all of those. You just need to know what you need so you can get going, right? Get good enough to get going, come back and make it better later. That's what the What I Need courses are all about, WIN courses. So those are the structured courses. I'll show you those in a second. We have on-demand workshops, which I'll show you. Those are for content that's maybe not quite as big as a course, but needs its own dedicated workshop to show you a specific technique, something like troubleshooting goals in Google Analytics, the one that we just did. Then you've got the Toolbox. I mentioned this earlier. This is the one that we give for free for our Toolbox members. They don't get access to the courses, but you do get access to the Toolbox if you're a free Toolbox member, where you can get access to our resources. But there is a little something special back there for Academy members, so I'll show you that as well. And then you have support. So you have the Winner Circle community. That's members helping members back here. So that's what that is. And then, of course, you've got Ask an Instructor support to get more concierge-driven support. That is the one I mentioned earlier, where Julie and the instructor team are back there to help you out and get you unstuck and on the way. Because it's sometimes frustrating in Google Analytics. You're looking at something until you go cross-eyed. You just cannot solve the problem. You talk to somebody else and they go, oh, just check that box. And then you go, oh my gosh, I can't believe I missed that. That's what Ask Instructor support is all about. Having somebody you can talk to, get a fresh pair of eyes, discuss ideas on, and get tactical help, technical implementation help when you need it. So what this looks like, let's go through the WIN courses very briefly. We organize those by date. This is important because we actually completely update these. We try to go for at least once a year, depending upon the course itself. Sometimes they'll be a little longer if it's more of a strategy-oriented course, but we do try to keep them up to date. That's our goal, right? To keep them up to date. We just redid the Google Analytics Basics course for November 2021. That was one that was just recently done. A couple months before that, we did the Measurement Marketing Framework. Before that, retargeting with Google Tag Manager, and et cetera, et cetera. You see all the stuff down here. We just redid the Google 4 Basic course not that long ago. You also have them organized by topic. So with Google Analytics, when Julie was mentioning about views and all that stuff, if that makes sense to you, we have Win Google Analytics Setup. That'll help you set up your different views. Win Google Analytics Basics shows you how to set up destination goals, event goals, other types of goals, what that ACE model is all about. Also shows it to you technically for GA4. So you have that back there. We actually have an entire course just on Google Analytics 4 for those that are really wanting to stay ahead of the curve when it comes to that. And then as Julie mentioned, where it was like, oh, what about the regex skills, right? Learning regex. So you have win regular expressions. If you want to learn how to use regular expressions, it makes your goals a whole lot easier. It opens up a lot of power in Google Analytics and Tag Manager, not actually technically Data Studio you can use regex for. So it's a pretty important skill to have. You don't need to do it day one, but it's back here when you're ready. That's why it's back here. In addition to all the other courses. So those are the Win courses. You can see these are the structured lessons and topics. There's a lot back here. But that's because your job is not to come back here and take every single course, because that's something you probably don't need. But it is something back here so that when you need something related to measurement, when you need some help to build your measurement muscles, you will have a course back here to help you out. Now, in addition to the courses, which is the Win course section right there, we talked about the workshops. The workshops look like this. You, of course, see the most recent workshop. All the Toolbox members actually get this one for free as well. But Academy members, you get these unlocked. This is where we go back, we edit these workshops down, we take out stuff like this, because that doesn't make sense for somebody who already is part of the Academy. They don't need to tour it. But we edit them down. We put in different effects to make them what we call student editions. They're a little shorter, quite a bit shorter actually, and a little more fun to get through. So that's what the workshops are. You can catch up on what's new. So you can go through the latest and greatest of the tools. We've got the Getting Started section. You've got the Beyond Basics section. Again, these are not so that you watch every single one, because there's hundreds back here. You don't need to watch every single one, but you do want to sometimes get help on a very specific topic. And then typically, if we don't have an entire course that's covering it or a lesson in that course, we do have a workshop that'll help you out with it and help you with your thinking, maybe in this case with the strategy stuff that we go through. So that's what it's here for, to help you out and get you unstuck and on the way. So that's another way that you have content available in the Academy. Remember, just-in-time learning. Finally, we've got the Toolbox. I mentioned that one earlier. This is the one that was free. Everybody has access to this. Toolbox members, if you don't have a free account yet, get one, because you get access to all of this stuff, including things like the Traffic Toolkit Builder. We've got the ACE goals to learn about ACE goals, the fun with filters I mentioned to get filters set up in your different views. All of that's back here. Academy members have the Get It Done guides. So iframe measurement, eyes on the journey reports. These are like little craft kits that we built out. I'll show you one very quickly here. So like this is the eyes on the journey report. This is one we're going to be doing a workshop on next week. So it's kind of like, here's the latest, but it comes with templates. It's multiple videos, and it's kind of not quite big enough for its own course, but it's bigger than a workshop. And that's what the Get It Done guides are, like little teeny craft kits when it comes to measurement. So you can kind of build something. So that's what that is. So those are the three: Win courses, on-demand workshops, and Toolbox. I mentioned support. Winner Circle, just so you see it, it is community. So it's members helping members back here. You can come into the different topic, ask questions, and get replies back to, whatever it is that you need help with. That's what's back here. So you can go through and do that. And then you also have Ask an Instructor support. This is this block right over here. The Ask Instructor support is what the vast majority of members use. Of course they would. Why not? Because it's kind of a one-on-one, not quite one-on-one, but like your side and our side. So our instructors are back there. You can click Ask a Question, put in screenshots and videos. We love that over-the-shoulder look. If you can do that to say, kind of imagine being able to virtually call over myself or Julie to your workstation and say, okay, I'm trying to figure this out. Here's what my destination goal is. Here's how it's set up. I went through your workshop. I'm trying to figure, but it's just not working. What am I doing wrong? She'll be able to help you out, or I'll be able to help you out, or another instructor will be able to help you out. 9 times out of 10, you're sending us videos, we send videos back to sort of talk you through it, because our job is, yes, to get you unstuck, but mostly to teach you. So you're building your muscles. That's what the Academy is all about. Again, it's a just-in-time learning platform, all about measurement, and of course includes Google Analytics, Tag Manager, Data Studio, etc., etc., etc. So in the Academy, again, you get all the courses, you get the Ask Instructor support, you get the on-demand workshop library, and the Winner Circle community. Every course, all the updates. Every time we update, you get the update. If we create a new course, you get the new course. So there's no limits there. The Ask an Instructor support, again, no limits on questions. Ask as many questions as you like. The on-demand workshop library, every single workshop you will get access to. That's available back there. And then Winner Circle community. Of course, it's a nice community to be able to access. It's also a great place to get stuff that's beyond our skill sets. Some members will ask questions about like Facebook ads or Google ads, and they're in different platforms. We don't teach Facebook ads. We don't teach Google ads. But we all are back there. All the members speak measurement. They all understand measurement. So sometimes somebody who is a really good Google Ads person or a Facebook person is able to help somebody else out, or maybe they're really good at technical SEO and they can answer those questions. Maybe you're really good at something that you can share with another member. It helps build community and network. So cannot emphasize the value of Winner Circle enough. All told, every month that you're a member of the Academy, you have access to well over $8,500 in training and support. Remember, not your job to go through every single course or video. It's just too much. We create content faster than you can ever use it, but it is designed so that it has what you need when you need it. And if you need help, you use instructors. We expect you to ask questions. We know you should be asking questions because this stuff isn't that easy to learn on your own. That's why the Measurement Marketing Academy exists, to help you get through the framework. So with that, I encourage you to join the Measurement Marketing Academy. You'll currently see the offers that we have available at measure.tips/getacademy. And we look forward to seeing you be a Academy member soon. So again, measure.tips/getacademy. With that, we'll go ahead and wrap this one up. This has been What's New. This has not been What's New. How did I mess that up? You know what? This is why we do this live. There we go. There's the right slide. With that, we'll go ahead and wrap this up. Getting started, how to troubleshoot destination goals in Universal Analytics. Thanks again for watching this workshop, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.